Good evening and welcome to the Trading the Tech Show. My name is Derek and this is iLi Academy. Today is Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. And it's been a very interesting day in the market. It's been actually quite fun because we've got so much movement, so much volatility. I mean, we've got, pairs going one way for a while, just kind of trending and then whipping the other way and trending back the other way. I mean, it's been very interesting to say the least. So we've been able to snag pips here and there. I would say, on a lot of the accounts, not as much as I want to, but we've been snatching them off the table as we can. So we're going to continue to do that until it breaks and starts to give us a little bit more. But overall, I'm happy. I can't say that I'm not happy with what we have going on at this point in time. I am happy with that. I'm happy that we have the volatility there. So even though there's, some, heavy things kind of going on in the world, we still have opportunity to kind of profit and try to put some money in our pockets. And that's just, and it's a good thing. We could do this from home. So we can actually not have to go out into the public or maybe not have to go out and get a 9 to 5 or something. I mean, 5 to 9 in addition to the 9 to 5. We don't necessarily have to do that. So I think we're just wonderfully blessed with the opportunity that we have in front of us, and it's been, it's actually been very good. So we weather some of the tough times, we work our way through those times, and we just keep going. We just have to keep going, and we'll get to the destination. We're, being disciplined is great. That's the greatest thing that we can do is just really kind of be disciplined and make sure that what we're doing falls within our trading disciplines, and we don't kind of waver from that at all. Now, today we had, we were going into the day up on the Dow. I remember this morning the futures being up like around 80 to 100 points, close to 100 points this morning when we did our daily market overview show. And then the Dow kind of trickled off as the day went on. We actually hit below 30,000, but then we closed at 30,068. So we lost 105 points on the day. So it was kind of topsy-turvy day for us. It was just kind of back and forth, the movement. So, but it gives us room again to start working again tomorrow. So, we'll see what happens overnight, what type of movement occurs overnight, see where we end up for the morning when we get started. I keep thinking that it's Thursday going into Friday. I'm not sure why, but it's only Wednesday going into Thursday. So today is hump day. So that just means we have more trading to go. So I really used to hate the weekends. When I first really started trading, especially Forex, I just, hated the weekends because I was so excited to be in the market during the week. The weekend was just kind of a letdown, but fortunately I live in a beautiful place here in Rio. I can find things to do on the weekend. A lot of times I just need to sleep some of the time because I don't sleep a lot during the week. Pretty much after our show, I pretty much work on, getting the video uploaded, all that stuff that may take the next hour. And then after that, I'm kind of up, so, and then my friend gets up and goes to work around 6, getting up about 6 in the morning or so. So a lot of times, maybe I got an hour of sleep or so. And then I might sleep after that point, until at least till the market opens for us in New York, kind of check things out and then sleep till about 12. That's been my schedule. I don't know why. It's just the schedule that I'm on right now. And at some point, I'm probably going to break that schedule, but I like being up at night and watching the markets and seeing what's going on. So who knows? It's all right for me as long as I get some rest. But on the weekends, that's why I tend to sleep a lot more on the weekends, and just try to rest up for the week because I know that I'm going to be up. So sometimes I know for this show I sound tired, and that's probably why. And I don't like that. So, like tonight I was able to get home early, get home a little bit earlier than normal without so much to do. And I was able to rest after dinner, get a little bit of shut eye and just kind of rest. And then, I'm fresh for the show, but then that means that, probably tonight I'll be up again. So who knows? I have to get this schedule down. But as a trader, this is what can happen. So it's something that we also have to control. It's something we have to think about what our sleep pattern is, because there's a lot of traders who are doing it kind of on a full-time basis and they're not getting a lot of sleep. So they end up burning out. And so we don't want to be in that situation either. So I know that there are limits, to what we do. I don't have to be up even looking at the charts that way. I'm up doing a lot of other things, maybe doing some research, learning different things. I'm about to take a course on Python coding on for it can be internet stuff, but also can be applied to app coding as well. Python is a pretty interesting coding language, so I think that I can do it. There's a huge course online that I can take. I think it's, I forget how many hours it is or whatever, but it's a YouTube course. I'm going to go through it and just take it. So I think, just as I have time, just, go through the course, learn the concepts of it. And I don't think I've ever really done that with a whole course. I've gone through some programming and I've learned, especially in some JavaScript and all that stuff when building an app. I know some HTML and some of that stuff too, but I never really took a course. It's just, if I had something I needed done, I just kind of went on YouTube, figure out how to do it. Even the automated traders that we have for MT4, it's like I really didn't know how to do that either. I was paying someone else to do it, but then I realized like he didn't really program some of the stuff that I had asked for. So I just decided, well, maybe I'll try it for myself, and then I was able to actually get down certain concepts of it, and now I'm able to kind of jump on there and do it without being afraid. So that's a blessing. So I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll take this Python. And the reason I want to do that is because eventually I want to go back into my application. I did open it last weekend. I had an application that I built for Android and it worked. It had the databasing and all that stuff online where, we could send out trade alerts. So we can say, okay, buy this particular you can buy this particular currency pair at this price with this stop, this limit, or this limit, what's the expected targets, for profit and all that stuff. And so I have this app that I developed, and it's not the prettiest thing in the world. I mean, I'm sure it could be a lot sleeker than what it is. So my goal is really to kind of work on that again, make sure everything is connected, make sure the code works, try to recode it maybe for Apple and for Android. That's like another feat that I have to kind of get over because it's different programming for iOS as opposed to Android. And sometimes you can do like a hybrid thing where it works on both. So I'm, just trying to gather all that information and kind of collect it and see what it is I need to do. And where I need to build it, what program I need to build it in. I have like Visual Basic. I started using that a little bit, and some other ones too. And so I think I'm going to take this course, maybe go over some of that stuff and say, okay, this is what you need. And then maybe I can kind of figure it out from there. But I want to make it sleeker. I want to make it look a little bit sleeker. I want it to be able to, provide that service for us right on the telephone. The big thing that I couldn't do, and I didn't have the expertise or knowledge to do back then, was to create some type of button when we send that alert. If we can create some type of button where you can actually link your MT4 account, or you can link your brokerage account, and you can hit that button and it sends that order to your broker if you decide you want to take it. That's what I wanted, and I got quoted like $5,000 to actually build that out for me. That was before I left New York. Someone quoted me like $5,000, and I never did it because I was moving and all that stuff, and it was just it's a tall order to kind of come up with $5,000 just for that particular thing at that point in time. So I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to do it right now. But now I've kind of gained enough confidence and worked on some of the apps and things like that enough to feel like I might be able to just make it happen. And now there are certain, pieces that have come out online that will allow me the connectivity, which is what I was unsure of. So I've been watching videos for that to find out how the connectivity works. I know the button will work to be able to do it, but I just need to figure out how to connect it up to the brokers and how to, get it to work with each individual person's broker. I know it will work. I just need to figure out how to do it. And so that's a project for me. It's not something that I'm really super, that's super urgent for me. I'd like to get that up and running sometime. And then maybe hire, somebody as an intern or somebody who has the desire to create like the UI for it, the user interface where, where you when you look at it, it's visibly pleasing and all that stuff. It's not terrible now, but it's not perfect by any means. I really wanted the guts of the program to work, for you to be able to log in with your username, password, maybe your Facebook or Google account, be able to go through the pages, all that type of thing. That's all I really wanted, is you to go through those pages. I made it instead, it looks nice, it looks okay, but it's not beautiful yet. So I think someone could take that and really take it and create a user interface that's really beautiful, and then from there we've got something. So that's kind of like one of the next projects that I'm working on, and eventually, maybe we can add stocks or whatever on it too, and just have a whole comprehensive application. That's kind of where I'm headed. So I think it can be done. And I like to have my hands in it, because eventually when I hire somebody to actually go in and kind of refine things after I get it to work, then from that point, I know what's going on. If they're trying to fix something or they're trying to work on something, I know what's going on. I know what's in my product. I know what's kind of on the back end. I'm not completely oblivious to what they're saying. So I'll have some knowledge of it. So I think I'm going to take that Python course and just go through it, and just try to learn the principles of that, because Python is the language that will allow me to send that order to my broker. It's the only one so far that I've found that I've got like all the pieces. I think online, on YouTube at least, I've seen all the pieces online. So I think that I can, if I can gather all the pieces, I can put it together. And if I have knowledge of the programming language, it should be fine. So that's kind of a project for me going forward. I'd really like to see the app, get done. It was really kind of cool pulling it up this past weekend. I couldn't get it onto my phone. I don't know why yet, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens and see if I can get it to actually show up for us here. All right, so let's get into our trading just a little bit here. Let's look at our charts tonight. We're going to kind of do some of the same thing that we did last night, as far as going back to Trading View, the Trading View software, looking at the daily chart, and then looking back at our 30-minute chart here on MT4, and just kind of comparing direction, because we got these real movements today. We got some real movements going on today in the market. So I want to kind of see what all occurred, so that we can look at it and say, what are the opportunities now? So I'm going to start here with this New Zealand US. We'll jump around a little bit tonight. I don't know if we'll go through every single chart. We may. We'll see what the time looks like. But I want to go through some of these charts and just kind of see what the real opportunities are for us. This New Zealand US, I wanted to show this one first, because I did place an order on this one. Now, when we look at this New Zealand US, we can see that we are trading above our 720. So we did kind of come down here to approach the 720 as far as the rate, but we're still trading above it. All the moving averages are above it as well. But towards the, at the beginning of the day, we were trading to the upside. We had this nice, beautiful, mature trend to the upside, and then it fell off a cliff, fell even through the area of consolidation. It fell right through that area as well, and came down and kind of tested this low that we had previously, right? So we had this previous low here, and then now we're basically around that same point now. So since we're above the 720, I did drop my order based on this 21. I dropped it on for it to buy, right? So you can see it's a buy stop order. So it's a pending order. If the rate does go back in the preferred direction, which is to the upside, then I will be interested in being in this order. So I placed a pending order there. If it commits to a move to the upside, then that should take me on up into the momentum of the trend and in the direction of the trend. I did put a limit out here, just like a soft limit for me. I mean, it's a hard limit there in the program itself, but it can be moved. It's not something that has to stay where it is. Once I lock in my stop loss, you know, I could either leave the limit there or I could like remove it. It doesn't really matter. As long as I lock in and I know that I got the pips that I want to get, I'm fine. You know, I'll just let it run. But right now I see this, we kind of had this area here where we created a new low, and then we created a high here directly after that. So if we do that again, you know, maybe it might repeat itself. If we do that again, we may end up around here, around this 70.57 area or so. So right now the entry order was around 70.20 something here. So 70.25 or so. So we're talking maybe another 25 pips or so to the top here. You know, at least, you know, I want to try to see if we can pull at least about 25 pips out of it. If we hit the stop loss, then we did about 30. I mean, the limit order will hit about 30 pips. So that's an order that can be seen there. If we go over here to our trading view software, we can see that for the New Zealand US, we are trading above our 720. So that means that, you know, we should be bullish. You know, our 50 did jump over our 100 as well, and it's pulled back now below the 50 and kind of near our 100. So this is the point where we would probably buy on this 50 if we were trading on this particular chart. So our bias is going to be to the upside. So even though I see this big move down, all this is doing is setting me up for a good trade to the upside. So and we tend to get that. If you look at this move from here, I'm gonna go ahead and throw my Fibonacci retracement on this high to low move here, from the high to the low. If we look at what happened after that, we did pass through, we almost hit the 61.8% here. And after that, we eclipsed the 61.8 and was pretty close to a 90%. So a retracement. So there was a big retracement of this particular large move. So anytime we have a large move like this one per se, I have a feeling that maybe it's overdone by traders. And if it's against my trend, then I'm looking to trade in the direction of trend as this gets cheaper, right? So I can take my Fibonacci and run it from top to bottom here, and I can see that my entry here on the 21 is a little shy of our 23, but the limit here is right up here between my 50 and my 61.8, which is typically my limit anyway. So I could probably end up taking this trade and being profitable on it. So there's a couple of strategies that are showing me, a couple of my strategies which are kind of showing me that this could possibly be a very good trade for me. Now, when nobody has a crystal ball and nobody's saying that it's going to be perfect, or nobody's saying that it's even going to pan out, but the probability of it panning out is very high, because the long-term trend on the daily chart matches my trend here on the 30-minute chart. They're both going in the same direction. So when that happens, then my feeling is that it's going to continue in that direction. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see how that happens. I'm going to go right here to the US dollar CAD. Let me go here. US dollar CAD, you see that we're below our 720 here. And so we did trade above our 200 here. So we could have dropped our order either on this 200 or more conservatively on our 50 or our 100. And if we short there, then that's a good opportunity for us, right? Because we have some room here to the downside. So we can short here right up around this 128.07 area. So the 50 and the 100 are about in that same area, 128.07, and then we could trade down here below 127, close to 127.70 if we get to the low here. So there could be 35, 38 pips in that for us, just on that small move, and it is in the direction of trend. So that's the US dollar CAD on the 30-minute. Now, if we take a look at our daily chart, it also coincides with what's happening on the daily chart, because on the daily chart, we're well below our 720. That tells us that we're bearish. And so here I'm bearish as well. I'm below my 720. So the momentum should be to the downside. So that's the order that I think is most probable to pay me out some pips, right? So that would be the order that I would take. And right now it's kind of approaching that area. So there may be some momentum in that area for us. Let's look at the US dollar Swiss. US dollar Swiss, kind of the same thing. It came up here, touched our 200. We're well below our 720. So we're bearish. And so we could have placed an order to sell on our 100 here in yellow or on our blue 50. Right now, we've got a little red candle developing. We'll see. It's consolidated a little bit here. We'll see if that breaks in the direction of the trend, which is to the downside. If we look at the US dollar Swiss here on our daily chart, we've got the same direction. We're below our 720 and everything's moving downward. So that tells me on my 30-minute chart that my momentum really should be to the downside because my 30-minute chart is going in the same direction. Now let's take a look at the US dollar yen here. We can see the US dollar yen, the pair, rate is actually trading above the 720 now. We did peak above it early yesterday. We peaked above it a little bit, dropped below it, kind of tested it, and then bounced again back above it now. So we have the dollar yen actually rising here, but our moving averages are still below the 720, the 50, the 100 and the 200 are still below my 720. So I'm not going to kind of jump in here and buy just because there's a big green candle. I don't want to jump in there and take that particular order because I know at some point this might exhaust. We might still get this same movement down. Now, if I look at the overall trend, let's see here, let me go over here, my daily trend here for US dollar yen, I can see that we're trending down because all of our moving averages and the rate is below the 720. It's also dollar. So I know in my mind that the dollar is, got some weakness. So if I'm going to play this, I might play it for a move to the downside more so than a move to the upside. Because when this move up here exhausts, most likely it's going to go back into its trend. There probably be more sellers than there are buyers here. Like I said, I'm going to jump around a little bit. Let's take a look at the Euro US. The Euro US, if you look at that, we are trading well above our 720 here on the 30-minute, right? So it tells us that we should be bullish. Now let's take a look on the daily chart and let's see. Same thing, right? Here's our 720 here, and we're trading above the 720. So that tells us we're bullish as well. So we can be confident in buy trades here on the Euro US on this 30-minute chart. Right now, we've traded well below our 200. Our 50 has actually dropped below the 200. The 100 is coming to meet it right now. So if I was a buyer here, I'm going to place an order to buy maybe on this 50 now because we've already eclipsed the 21. So I probably would have put on the 21 here just because I like the fact that it pulled back so far. But if I'm doing it now, I'd probably place it on this 50 here just to be conservative, let the market really move in my direction before I get involved in it. And the momentum should be to the upside. So now you get to see how, even though we're seeing these trades like cascade off the cliff here, why we don't panic through that and why we understand where we are, even when the market is throwing us confusing type signals. We still understand where we are and what it is that we're doing, even in that situation. So that's where I would be a buyer at. I'd be a buyer there at this 50. Matter of fact, I'm going to right click and go to trading and go to buy stop and place my buy stop order there. Right. So if it hits that area, I should be able to get into that trade. All right. Good. So that's the Euro US. Euro Yen is one that I was looking at as well a little bit earlier too. On the Euro Yen, we're trading here above our 720. So that tells us that we should be bullish at least on the 30-minute chart. Our daily chart kind of confirms that that's the direction as well. So then our momentum and our preferred direction is to the upside. And so what you can see here is we did drop down below this 200, but we could have placed our order on the 200, this 50, or this 100. And you can see right now we're getting some momentum to the upside. We'd have positive trades on that, no matter which one we actually had chosen. Doesn't mean it's going to last forever and it's just going to keep going up, 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 and up. But it's going to go up enough to put some pips in our pocket where we can lock some in, and then we can take that off the table. We can take some pips off the table. That's all we're really trying to do. And especially if we have a small account, that's what we're trying to do. We need to get as many pips off the table as we can get. Right. So the more we can take off, the more we're going to have a better situation in our account. And we're going to build it even more. And then we can take another order, and we can take another order and see what happens there. Let's look at the euro pound. Euro pound on this 30-minute is trading above our 720. Now we did come down here and test it. We actually bounced around. We didn't break the previous low, and then we took off to the upside. So this is a good example of maybe the breakout bounce trade. Normally we like it to come down a little bit deeper and maybe kind of check this level a little bit, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes this is going to bounce around here. We know that the 720 is there, so we know that that's a floor for us. So if the floor exists, let the floor exist. We say, okay, if it bounces from here, fine, it bounces from here. But we know that this was going to head off to the upside based on the strategy itself. But looking at the euro pound, we're above, so we're bullish. We're above our 720. I'm going to jump over here and see if I can see this on my daily chart, see what kind of direction that's been giving us. We're trading above our 720 here. Now I noticed that my 50 moving average is below the 720, and the 100 didn't actually ever go below. So there's a possibility that this 50 is going to jump back over the 720, and then we should get some more momentum to the upside. It may jump below, but at this point, that's kind of how it looks to me, because the 100 definitely never jumped over the 720. So if I'm looking at this now, I would have been a buyer because we dropped down here quite a bit below our below our 200. And then so our 50 actually dropped down below the 200 too. So I would have been a buyer either here on this 50, maybe here on this 21, because the 21 was there as well while we were, down here below the 720. The 21 would have been the first moving average we would encounter on the way back. So we can use the 21, we could have used the 50 here, maybe around this 90.33 area. And then we had the opportunity for the 200 as well, right around 90.43. So those were the opportunities that we had. And right now we'd be, headed up towards some profit here, right? Okay, so let's see. Let's go look at, let's look at the Aussie, because we were playing the Aussie today as well. Now here is the Aussie CAD. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a look at this really quickly on our daily chart just to see if anything has changed there. No, it hasn't changed. So we're above our 720 here. So the moving averages are not in order to the upside yet. The 50 is still below the 100, but it's getting close there. It's kind of closed the gap a little bit. And then we've got some green candles. We've got 4 green days right in a row so far. And today developing into a green candle as well. So our momentum is to the upside. That's the preferred play. Right now, the rate is above the 720 here. So we could buy, based on being above the 720. But the only issue here is that the 50 just jumped over the 720. The 100 and the 200 are still below the 720. So we're going to have to see whether this actually comes back and tests the 720, or if this is the test, because it eclipsed the 720 here, came down, tested it, kind of broke through a little bit, and then trekked off to the upside. So maybe that was kind of the test, of the 720, and now we're headed up, and the moving averages should start to reflect that. You can see all of them kind of turned up in an upward direction. They're all in an upward angle. So if this movement continues to the upside, then those moving averages should jump over the 720, and then we can begin to set up our mature trade to the upside. So we'll see. We'll see how this trade pans out and see kind of where we go here. As far as the Aussie yen, you can see we're well above our 720. We got a nice move, a nice recovery back from past the 100 here. And then past the 50, we could have dropped our orders either on this 100 or this 50. Either one, it wouldn't have taken us all that long for us to become profitable and put a number of pips in our pocket. Okay. And then let's take a look at the Aussie yen on our trading view software and look at the daily chart. Look at the daily chart. Our 50 just jumped over the 100. Both of them are above the 720 as well as the rate. So our movement is to the upside. Our momentum is to the upside. And so we should get more momentum to the upside. You can see here, we got a huge momentum to the upside. Even though it came back and retreated a lot of that move, retraced a lot, we still got momentum to the upside. So, you know, we can feel comfortable placing that trade if both the 30-minute chart and the daily chart are kind of pointing in the same direction. And when they're pointing in opposite directions, that might be the point where we have to be very, very careful. Now, here's the Aussie New Zealand. We can see that Aussie New Zealand is above our 720 here. The moving averages are all in order to the upside. So we do have a nice mature trend. We're just waiting for a pullback past the 50 or past the 100. Now we're getting a little bit of an angle away from the 50. So, you know, my idea is here is that this might exhaust at some time. We do have a nice big wick up here at the top. And so I think that maybe it may exhaust at some point in time and come back down into, you know, our 50 or 100. But let's take a look at the daily and see where we are here. Now, the daily chart shows that we're trading underneath the 720. The moving averages are below the 720. So my idea here is that we should really be trading to the downside, even though it's pulling back against trend. It's done that before, right? It pulled back against trend here, and then there was a new low created. It pulled back against trend, then we got a new low created. So we're pulling back against trend again. Maybe we get a new low created. That's what I see. So there's the possibility that that could occur. So even though we got this nice move to the upside and it looks, you know, very, very strong, and everybody's like, oh, okay, that, you know, it's going up. Great. You're going to make some pips on the way up. I'm not saying you can't, because there's some strength there in this move up. But based on what we know from our daily chart, we know that there's a possibility, there's a strong possibility that it may actually resume its downtrend. So regardless of what it's doing here, we know that it should resume the downtrend. Okay. Aussie US, same thing, right? Trading above our 720 here. We had these moves down here to the 200. We could have bought on our 100 and then our 50 moving averages. Could have been our buy spots. We would have been profitable on this trade. Right? The Aussie US is bullish on the day chart as well. Okay, so now that I've explained it a few times, I know that you know, you probably got it at this point. You're looking at it going, okay, yeah, I get that. I understand how that works. Now look at the Swiss, the CAD yen. The CAD yen is above our 720, well above. We had the rate come down and test the 200. And so we could have bought on our 100 or our 50, just purely off of the strategy itself. As high as 81.37, we still would be profitable. Or high is 81.35 or 357, you know, we'd still be profitable about 10 pips or so right now, even from that level, maybe a little bit more from the 100. So, and you know, the beauty of it, it doesn't really take a long time for these trades to really kind of take off for us. That's the real beauty of it. So, you know, not a bad thing whatsoever, not a bad trade. Now let's look at the CAD yen on the daily chart and see if that kind of corresponds, and it does. Right, it's trading above the 720, so it's kind of giving us the idea that we should be bullish on this particular pair. Let's take a look at the Swiss yen while I'm here. I'll just pull that up. Swiss yen, same thing, right? We're above our 720. Moving averages are above the 720. The 50 now jumped over the 100, so we're headed up here. So let me go here to my Swiss yen on the 30-minute chart. And it concurs, right? We've got our 720 way down here at the bottom, all the moving averages and the rate above, and we've got movement to the upside. So all we really needed to do was catch this move on the 50, you know, and been patient. All we had to do is catch the move on the 50 as the rate comes down here and touches the 100. And any of these places, we could have done this, and then we could have bought on the 50. And it would have yielded pips for us. So the game is not that hard. You know, this is not that difficult a concept, not a very, very difficult thing to do. It's a great little concept and a great little pattern-based, trend-based strategy that we can use that will put us in the right direction. And that's all we really want as traders. That's like really the whole ball game for us as traders. What direction are we going in? Because I know I can trade in that direction. You know, it's not that hard to think about, right? Now look at the pound Aussie. I wanted to check this one out today because the pound Aussie is below our 720, right? We can see that the moving averages are not in order to the downside yet, but the 50 is pointing down now towards the 100. And if it jumps below that 100, then we might have some real momentum to the downside. Now the pound Aussie here on the 30-minute chart concurs. We're below our 720. You can see that we pulled up here past our 200. That would have been the point that we shorted here, maybe on this 100 or maybe on the 50, and we would have a nice profitable trade going right now. But based on what we saw on the daily chart, there's possibility of a lot more room down here, right? There's really not a whole lot going to happen here. This is maybe a spot where we found some support, kind of where we are right now. But then once we break that, our next support is way down here, right? So let me see. I don't know what if I can find the low here. I don't know. I don't think it tells me here, but it's just giving me the percentage when it goes up and down or whatever. But it's down here kind of in this the 174s area, 174.93. I guess this is the low, right? So here's the high in the chart. Here's the low in the chart. You can actually label these. You can have these, labels show up for you. So the low is 174.93. So we have a lot of room from 179 down to 174.93. There's a lot of pips there. So if we're trading the pound Aussie, then our bias is really going to be to the downside. So no matter if it keeps jumping up, whenever it jumps up like this, we might be really interested in selling. Anytime it jumps up against trend, we're going to sell because that's where we're going to make money. And we've got momentum in that direction. Pound CAD, kind of the same thing, trading below our 720 here. We did jump up here above the 200 a couple of times. We could have shorted on that 200 and gotten some decent gains out of it. Even on the 100 or the 50, moving averages, we could do the same. Right now, we'd be profitable, right? So let me look at the pound CAD over here on our daily chart. And this is a little different now. So you see that our pound CAD is sitting just a little bit above our 720 here. So, and the moving averages are above as well. So my idea about this, this pound CAD is a little different than my pound Aussie analysis. My pound CAD technical analysis is saying, you know what, this move to the downside may not be as strong. Because I know on a daily basis, even though it's kind of coming down here, I know that this 720 has kind of held as a floor sometimes, and we haven't really broken below it and really traded a lot below it. We've broken below and retreated right back above. So I have a feeling that the pound CAD retreats back above the 720. The moving averages are up there. You notice this whole time, since July, the 50 has not been underneath the 720, and neither has the 100. The 100 hasn't been for forever, but the 50 at least has not been below. So that's telling us right there that we're probably going to have more momentum to the upside. And so if something big happens, typically it's going to happen to the upside. That's what it's telling us. It may change, but so far it has not. So we can only go by what we see already, right? So that's a little different. That's the first one that was really kind of divergent and not mirroring the other pair, right? Let's look at the pound Swiss real quick here. Pound Swiss is trading below our 720. Looks like we're headed down here a little bit. We did jump up above our 200 for a little bit yesterday. And then we could have shorted on this 100 or on the 50 moving averages here, and we would have had a profitable trade. Now, pound Swiss, let's take a look here on the daily chart, see if it concurs. The rate is just below our 720, but the moving averages are above. So that's telling me that this move can exhaust itself at some point in time, and it may return to where the moving averages are, the average price is, which is above our 720. So this may not last forever, this movement below the 720. So I'd be a little bit cautious on that one just because they're not trading in the same direction, or they're not telling us the same story, right? Take a look at the pound yen. Pound yen, we see we're above our 720, right? We did trade down here below it today. So, we got that big movement down and then we retraced a lot of the movement right back up, right? At least about 50% or so, or maybe even more, 60%, we retraced this move. Matter of fact, let's throw the Fibonacci on it and let's see. We're going to go from this high to this low. Oops, slide on up there. There we go. You see that we did retrace here close to 50%, right about 50% mark for that move down. So there's a big retracement there. That's a nice size retracement. And let's kill this here. I've got so many pieces of text going on here. That's because our Diamond Auto Trader is plugging that in. But so for the pound yen, looking at it, I should really be bullish here. So as this came down and tested the 720, I should have been buying on the 100 or the 200 or the 50. And we'd be looking at, creating a positive trade right now. Let me go here to the pound yen on the daily chart and see if it's divergent or if it matches. For the pound yen, we're above our 720. So we really should be seeing movement to the upside. Our 50 is above our 100. It has well been above there since mid or late November. It's been above the 100, and so we should be having movement to the upside. So we don't have to be confused about what direction to trade in, because the charts are telling us based on the pricing, the average of the pricing that's happened over a certain length of time. We're figuring out what direction is. What direction is the market going in, or each of the pairs. Now, pound US will probably be our last chart for tonight. We're trading above our 720, right? But we're down here below all of the moving averages. The rate's trading below the moving averages, except for the 720. It's above, right? So our, I believe it's this vibranium is supposed to take an order here as well when we pull back between this level. Now, between the 200 and 720, if we pull back, then we, at a certain way, and certain parameters, we would buy, right? So because we're above the 720. Now we could place an order here on the trend trader to buy maybe at this 133.81 level, because that's where our 200 and our 100 sit. Our 50 is not that high above it, and our 21s is just below it as well. So we could actually place an order to buy there. But let me look at my daily chart and see if that concurs. Yes. Now this is a major pair because it involves a dollar, but it's not dollar based. The dollar is the second currency. So it should be traveling in an upward direction because the dollar is weak, right? And the dollar's been weak. So the dollar's falling. These other pairs that are paired with the dollar should rise, as long as the dollar is not the base pair. So the pound US on the daily kind of confirms what we see here in our the opportunity that we see here in our pound US 30-minute chart. So we're down below the 200 right now. So our order placement would be on that 200, 100, or that 50. And we should get some, a nice order out of that. We should get the momentum back in the direction of the trend. So I hope that was clear for, you guys. I hope that you were able to enjoy what you saw here tonight. I hope that it's making sense for you and how we're analyzing the charts and how we're going about getting our entry points. I always talk about the beauty of the system being that you can go back 2 weeks from now, and come right back to today and still get the same answer for as far as where you would get in on your trade, or how you would analyze it wouldn't change. And so that's what's going to give you confidence as a new trader. So that's the number one thing that happens for traders is they lack confidence because they're not really sure what they're looking at. And if you look at this chart here, it looks crazy. It looks like it's just all over the place, but there's direction there if you know how to find it. You know, sometimes it takes two charts, but there's direction there that can calm those nerves down and say, okay, I've got one chart that says this, I've got another chart that kind of confirms that direction. And so this is the direction that I should be trading in. And then it's just a matter of deciding, okay, where is my entry point? And the moving averages provide that when the parameters are met. If we trade below a certain level, then we can place our orders on the moving averages above if we're buyers. It's the opposite if we're sellers. Very, very simple, very visual, very simple, very easy to execute. And it occurs a lot. That's the one thing. It occurs enough where you probably wouldn't ever in life need another strategy. It's that good. I don't know that some people will even ever want another strategy. They're like, it works, so why go away from it? And a lot of times if you're trading with the momentum of the trend, and it's showing you on both the daily chart and the 30-minute chart that they're going in the same direction, a lot of times when it pulls back and you get that momentum going and you get that speed behind it, you know, within hours, you're profitable. So you're not waiting forever to be profitable either. You know, not every trade's going to be like that. There are going to be some that just go the wrong way for whatever reason. That's going to happen. But in a lot of these instances, we see inside of like 2 hours, then all of a sudden, boom, we've got this candle shooting in the direction that we need, and it's working for us. So as a teacher, that's what I want to teach you. You know, I want to teach you how to get some pips, because if I can do that for you, then you can bring other people that want to learn as well. You can be confident in telling your friends, hey, this guy's good. This is, you know, his program is good. What he's got for us is good. The education is there. You know, there's a lot of things online. I see a lot of things online. Believe me, I was looking today, even just looking at some things, and I'm just like, this person is, they're drawing these levels, but they're guessing at those levels. I'm looking at what they're drawing and then what they're saying, what this means and what that means. And I'm like, you're guessing, you're guessing. They've kind of taught themselves a certain way to do it, but I don't know that they could go back tomorrow and find those same exact levels. You know, that it don't strike me like they could. And so don't fall. I just don't want you guys falling, you guys and girls falling for, you know, the individuals who really don't know. You know, they're just trying. And I'm not going to fault them for trying. I think it's good. I think everybody kind of develops their way. But I want you to be sure about what you're doing. That's the difference. That's the difference with iLi Academy. I can give you things where you're sure, you're 100% sure why you did what you did. And it don't take you that long. How many charts did we go over here tonight in a space of like 30 minutes or so? Went over a bunch of charts. It didn't take us that long to find out. And not only that, we analyzed two charts. We analyzed the daily chart and the 30-minute chart. And we're still got through a bunch of the charts. We didn't go through every one tonight because we don't need to go through every single one. We just need you to get the concept of how to look and how to analyze it. But you're growing already. You're going to, you know, you see this and you're able to do this, you can do it. You know, eventually, if you grow your account balance to a level where it's going to start providing some significant money for you on a monthly basis, because you can do these trades 2 or 3 times a day. These trades exist. They come all the time. That's what I like about it. We've always got trades kind of coming and going here throughout our trading day. You can find, I'd be willing to bet you could find at least 3 trades a day. Maybe not on a Friday, but you know, throughout the week, typically you could probably find about 3 opportunities per day where you can place an order. That's what I've been seeing. So you don't need that. So you get 10 pips on one, 20 pips on the other one, 5 pips on another one. You still did 35 pips. You know, if you've got enough money in the account, then that 35 pips can mean dollars for you. It could be a significant amount of money for you. But you got to grow the account to that level. And then you just learn how to do the job, learn how to do your portion of it while you're growing your account and while you're putting in more money. But you're not going to be afraid to put in more money in your account because you know that you're not going to lose it all because you've been actually doing the strategy and it's working for you. And it's going to work so much that you're going to be like, okay, I'm comfortable adding that other 500. I'm comfortable adding that other 1,000, you know? And that's what I want to see. I want to see people get to that comfort zone and go, okay, this is working for me. And let's boost it a little bit. And, might take you 5 or 6 years, may take you 10 years to get to the point where now it's providing you, $1,500, $2,000 a month because of how much money you're putting into it. Just depend on how aggressively you're putting money in. And then you're being extremely conservative with the lot size, just in case something goes the wrong way. You're not panicking out. You can kind of hang on to it. You don't have to worry about it. So it takes a little bit of money to be able to do that. It takes a little bit of cash to be able to get in that situation. But you have confidence and you're not worried about putting your cash there because you know that you're good for it. Like you don't worry that, okay, it's going to be gone next month. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care who it is online and they're telling you this and they're telling you that. There's very few traders where over the span of 3 months, they're not making a deposit, because they might do well for a while, but then there's that come that day, they're getting killed in the market and they got to make a deposit. But we don't typically experience that. I don't have any. I'm not saying I have any because we've got some situations, but we've had very few people, in iLi Academy that are having to put in money again right away. We're not seeing that because we're trading conservatively enough. We're trading the right lot size amount. We make less money per trade, but we're consistent with the trades that we win. That's the important thing. And we win them pretty quickly through the strategy that we're using. We know how to gain those pips. So, I think it's a good thing. So hopefully, you stick with me. If you have friends, individuals who can benefit from what it is that you're learning as well, bring them along, because it's only going to benefit them. And then you have a partner that you can trade with, somebody that you can help. If they get in trouble, they can help you. If you kind of lose your way a little bit, they can help you as well. And I'm here just to kind of guide the ship and take as many people on the cruise as I can with me. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. This is Derek with iLi Academy. I appreciate you lending your ear to me tonight and lending your eyes to my charts and seeing what it is that I'm doing and what it is that I'm showing you. I appreciate your time and attention. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. All right. We'll be back tomorrow to see what's happening. But I'll be here also in the morning for the daily market overview show. But that's at 5 a.m. Eastern time. If you don't catch it live, catch it on the website and the recording. All right. Ciao. Good night.